Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is October 25th, 2017. You know, ladies and gentlemen, over the course of the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing a lot of reports by other YouTube channels, especially Mr. MBB333. And he's been documenting a lot of information about the Mississippi River kind of running dry, water levels very, very low. And in all actuality, you know, these water levels really shouldn't be as low as they are based on the amount of rain activity that we had during the hurricanes and after the hurricanes. That entire region, the whole entire Mississippi Valley. Well, I live about 20 miles south of the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My area is surrounded by major rivers that flow into the Mississippi River. Matter of fact, the city of Pittsburgh, in the downtown city area, you have two rivers that converge together, forming the Ohio River, which flows directly into the Mississippi River. And I don't live too far from one of these main rivers, the Monongahela River. And I've been checking these river levels both by literally going down to the river and checking it out, and also checking with the USGS, because they do monitor river levels across the entire United States. I grew up in this area. I know what the river levels should look like during rainy periods. And to be honest with you, over the course of the last 2 months, I've been monitoring all of these river levels, and there have been some increases and decreases, up and down. And then all of a sudden, about a month ago, the river levels just dropped. Now, there are a series of locks and dams up and down all of these rivers that control the water levels, because there are communities, cities and towns located up and down all of these rivers. It is a main thoroughfare for coal transportation. And I'm very, very surprised at what I've been seeing. Water levels that have literally dropped as far as 11 feet. 11 feet. The water is just disappearing. And it's quite alarming. Now, there is a smaller river tributary, and it's called the Youghiogheny River. Now, these are all old Indian names. This whole entire region was inhabited by many, many different Indian tribes, Native Americans. A lot of these rivers are named from these Indian names: Monongahela, Youghiogheny, so on and so forth, the Seneca, the Aliquippa. The area where I live, just south of the city of Pittsburgh, is very, very historical, very, very old. I mean, we're talking back to the beginnings of George Washington's military career, going all the way back to the early 1750s. This past weekend, on Sunday, I decided to investigate a little further by heading south, even further into the Laurel Highland Mountains, which is basically part of the Appalachian Mountains. I'm going to show you some photographs that Dr. Albers and I took. So I decided to take her on a little historical sightseeing tour of some of the old forts that are there in the mountains, because this whole entire region south of the city of Pittsburgh is very, very historical. It played a huge part in the formation of what we call the United States right now. And this goes all the way back to, well, just about 1750, 1755, I believe. So I decided to take her on a little sightseeing tour. And at the same time, we were going to go down into the mountains and head down into some of these deep valleys. And I wanted to go to this Youghiogheny, or what they refer to in short as the Yauk River. I wanted to go all the way down into the mountains to the Yauk Dam. And I'm very, very familiar with this area. As a young kid, my grandfather would take me camping and hunting in these mountains. It is just absolutely breathtaking. It is a very, very beautiful place. Very beautiful. Hunting, fishing, a lot of recreation, lakes, rivers, raging rapids. I mean, you literally have all of it right there. So we decided to take this ride south, going through the historical town of Uniontown and Farmington, and straight down into the Laurel Highlands. There are ski resorts scattered everywhere and very, very historical monuments. And it is just a beautiful place to visit. As we were traveling down to a bridge that crosses over this Yauk River, immediately we noticed that the river was almost gone. Almost completely gone. Now, I'm going to show you some photographs and some information, and I'm even going to show you on Google Earth. I'm going to show you this river. This river travels for a couple of 100 miles. It travels all the way through the rest of southern Pennsylvania into Maryland, West Virginia. It's a very, very long river. You know, and getting into how this area of the United States was formed, well, you know, we can go back 480 million years to the formation of the Appalachian Mountains. And we can talk about the coal industry and the Marcellus shale industry. Because a lot of people, you know, a lot of people don't understand how these formations occurred in this area of our country. But getting into these photographs and this information, it's really blowing my mind, because I've never seen this happen before in my region of the United States. You know, we had considerable rain yesterday, and the water levels, as I checked online, they just didn't increase. I checked the water levels of the Yauk River, and they just didn't increase. And ladies and gentlemen, these rivers should not be losing water, because we're not under any type of drought conditions. And all of the streams and the small tributaries that run off of the Appalachian Mountains and run directly into these rivers, you should never have a drought. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of sources of underground water that literally flows out of the cliff sides. Pretty amazing to look at, both in the summertime and the spring and in the winter, as they form these massive, massive ice formations on the sides of these mountains and these cliffs. And we're talking hundreds and hundreds of feet high. So the Appalachian Mountains they're very, very old. Like I said, they go back, I think, 480 million years. But when I saw a report this morning, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with all of you. Now, I saw this report first thing this morning from Mr. MBB333, and just as he was uploading his report and I started watching it, I was right in the middle of preparing this live stream information because I've been wanting to talk about this for about a week now. But I wanted to wait till I got back from the mountains. I took some photographs and I did a little research to get some data and get some information to show all of you what's happening in my neck of the woods. Hold on, I had to take a sip of my coffee here. So first thing this morning, Mr. MBB333, he uploads his video and he's been doing some documentation on what's been happening. So I'm listening to his report and he's talking about a man that lives in Conrad. Here you go, right here, Conrad, Pennsylvania. And a lake that this man travels over every day has gone completely dry in about 48 hours. And here's a photograph. The man is driving across the small bridge over this lake. And as you can see, the water is gone. Here, I'll just blow this up for you. The water's gone. You see a little bit of water back here, but this area here, it's bone dry. Completely bone dry. I mean, it really makes you start to question what the hell is happening. You know, and I don't have any answers for this, folks. I've discussed this matter over and over again over the course of the last several days with Dr. Albers. And, you know, we're starting to think that is there some type of underground seismic activity that has opened up fractures below these tributaries and these waterways and these lakes? Where is this water disappearing to? You know, folks, it's not like we're missing a little bit of water out of a pond or a little teeny tiny little lake. We're seeing significant water level drops that are just unimaginable. Where is the water going? I mean, we're talking millions and millions of cubic gallons of water. Where is it going? We're talking about rivers that travel hundreds and hundreds of miles. Where's all the water going? Really makes you wonder. So I stumble across this article that just came out 2 days ago. Saline lakes, salt lakes around the world shrinking at alarming rates. You'll find this article in The Watchers online. The article goes into talking about the critical state that a lot of these salt lakes are in. Now, it talks about Utah's Great Salt Lake, Asia's Aral Sea, the Dead Sea in Jordan and Israel, China's huge Lop Nur Lake, Bolivia's Lake Popo. All of them are literally right now, as we speak, in peril. And this will cause very, very serious environmental problems. But where is the water going? You know, all of these areas, they've had, you know, persistent rainfall. Things have been pretty normal. But as you can see by some of these photographs, boat docks completely dried up. You know, folks, we saw these areas of Brazil and Uruguay where the water just disappeared from some bays and around the shorelines. We saw the same thing happen in Tampa. They blamed it on hurricanes, but there weren't any hurricanes in Brazil and Uruguay when this water displacement occurred. It just disappeared. Where did it go? So little by little, we're finding out that this is happening all over the world. Each and every day, little bits of information come out. So I want you to remember this photograph that you're looking at right now, where these boat docks are completely dried up, because I'm going to show you what my neck of the woods looks like, and it looks pretty similar. Here you go is a photograph where this used to be water. The water's gone. You have a scientist right here. He's examining this water displacement. It's gone. It's telling you right here below the picture, researcher examines organisms left behind in a puddle from the drying shores of the Great Salt Lake. I mean, that's a pretty vast amount of water. We're not just talking about a few feet. That's a huge distance of water. Now, what I want to show you is I'm going to go ahead and bring up this Google Earth. Now, the area where I was on Sunday was in the southern mountains south of the city of Pittsburgh, about 60 to 70 miles south. As I mentioned, it's an absolutely beautiful area. A lot of farmland. I'm just going to pan out here a little bit. And here's the city of Pittsburgh, way up here. I'm going to zoom in here, and you can see where these rivers meet. The Monongahela River, the Allegheny River, they meet right here at the point in downtown Pittsburgh, and they form the Ohio. The Ohio flows all the way across and into the Mississippi. So as we move further south, I'm just going to go ahead and pan out here. So we have the city of Pittsburgh here, and we're going to be heading southeast all the way down here into these mountains. And as you can see, and if a lot of you listen to Dutch Sense, he talks about this this area quite a lot, dealing with the movement of earthquakes and how some of this earthquake activity can actually move up into this region. And all of this area, folks, this area is very, very old. And the way that it was formed was from plates colliding together. And these mountains in this area are very, very old. Like I said, my research takes them back about 480 million years. And then there's been a lot of erosion on these mountains. And then they were uplifted again. And then everybody wonders, well, how did that coal get there? How did that Marcellus shell get there? You know, coal is related to decaying plant matter. Marcellus shell is decayed marine life. So if you look at this area here, well, you don't see any massive lakes or ocean, but a very long time ago, that's exactly what you had. So we're going to go ahead and move in here a little bit, and you can see how far this mountain range moves. You know, Dutch talks about this big letter N in some of his forecasts. Matter of fact, yesterday in his forecast, he mentioned it. And this was from two plates colliding together that literally squeezed these mountains up. So we're going to get all the way down in here. Let me see if I could find my place again. So we're just going to move all the way down to the Youghiogheny Dam. Now, this is an earthen dam. It's a recreational area. You could actually drive across this dam. It's a big parking area right here, boating, fishing, you name it. Absolutely gorgeous area. As you can see, look at the water levels. This river never has this type of shoreline. If you look right over here, this island has actually formed. If you look even closer, this is a big boating area, folks. Look at the boat docks. They're laying on dry land. And it is like this up and down this river. Here's more boat docks. They're on dry land. All of them. The river level is usually up to this tree line, as you see right here. Even in the dead of summer, when rainfall is, at a minimum, the water levels are always maintained pretty well along these tree lines. Because again, you have so many other tributaries, streams, and waterways flowing out of the mountains down into the Yauk River. So where is the water going? I mean, I have absolutely no idea. Now, I'm going to show you an area. Here we have the dam. And right here is where I was driving across this bridge. And I used to take rides on my Harley all the time on a Sunday afternoon up into the mountains and just enjoy the ride. Drive all the way to Maryland, turn around, and come back. I always come across this bridge. It's not a real high bridge. It's rather low, brand new. There is a marina right here. These buildings right here, these are all for boats. This is a business where they sell and store boats, and this is the boat docking area, parking. There are some rental homes back in here that you could rent, picnic area. But ladies and gentlemen, look at this. The water is gone, completely gone. Now, you're looking at this on Google Earth, but I'm actually going to show you my own photographs because I was literally standing out here on Sunday afternoon, wondering, where did the water go? And I mean, the ground was so dry that you could walk all the way down to where the water level is now. And the Youghiogheny River, it's not a very deep river. And they do have some raging rapids. They have a facility upriver a little bit where, you go whitewater rafting and there's big drop-offs and people absolutely love it. But the water levels are so low, I found out that all of the whitewater rafting and canoeing and kayaking was suspended in the beginning of August because the water levels disappeared. Now, if you come over here, this is basically all mud. Here's a boat dock right here. There's no water there. These are all boat docks. They're all completely dry. And, right down here, this brings you into the panhandle of Maryland, as you can see right here. And the river it gets not so wide, but it runs all the way down for, I think, about another 130 miles. So this is the area that I was in on Sunday, right here. Parked my car, walked down over the small embankment. And, I was here last year, and this was water all the way up to this edge, like it is every year. Where'd the water go? It disappeared. Just disappeared. So I'm going to jump out of the Google Earth here real quick. Let me just jump out of here real quick. Oh boy, oh boy. I'm going to share my screen again. And I'm going to show you some photographs that I took. Now, going into the formation of this area, as you can see, the rock formations all along the mountain areas of southeastern Pennsylvania, or excuse me, this is southwestern Pennsylvania, but going east, like you would be going towards the middle of the state. As you can see, it's a lot of sedimentary rock. And I have these formations all over the Pittsburgh area and south of the city. Here's another one. And you can see the layers upon layers upon layers. And if you look closely at some parts, you'll see a layer of volcanic ash. Now, you really can't see it too well in this photograph, but I have others where you can see a black layer of volcanic ash. So at one point in time, there was volcanic activity that laid down a thick layer of volcanic ash. Now, looking at this area, and I don't want this picture to blur too much, but here's the state of Pennsylvania, right there. Here's the state of Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia. Okay, this area at one point in time was all underwater. As I tell everybody, the formation of this area at one point in time was completely underwater. And then that's how you get the formation of coal from plant life and Marcellus shell from marine life. So how did it get there? So at one point in time, the ocean was literally flowing into this area. It was all water. But then something occurred. Something catastrophic occurred that once again pushed these mountains upward, and all of the water instantaneously left this region, left the aquatic life right where it was. Therefore, after millions and millions of years of decay, well, there you have your Marcellus shell. The plant life, the same. So, just to give you a little geological background, this is and was a seismic area. We don't have too many, earthquake situations in our region. However, a few weeks ago, there was an earthquake in West Virginia. There have been earthquakes in Ohio. Several years ago, I was sitting in a barber shop getting my hair cut when the whole entire building shook for about 30 seconds. Everything was shaking. It was an earthquake, a rare earthquake. Now, over the past few weeks, we've seen earthquakes in upstate New York. Again, very rare occurrence. Now, this is an actual photograph of the Youghiogheny Dam, the Yacht Dam. It's an earthen dam. There's a lot of people that live below this earthen dam. Yeah, this kind of brings to memory, what happened at Oroville Dam in California. So if anything would ever happen to this earthen dam, there would be, oh my God, hundreds of thousands of people downstream that would be instantaneously flooded, wiped out, because a lot of people live along this river basin. And it is a beautiful area. I love going down here. Now, this gives you just a general look of where the city of Pittsburgh is and where these rivers meet. And here's the Youghiogheny River right here. And we are just about down here where I was investigating, just about down here in this region, just before the Maryland border. Here's my pictures. You can see the rise, how far down from the top of the embankment, which is way up here. This is where the picnic area is. Look how far down I am. I'm so far down that I can't see over this elevated area right here. I went down even further to the water's edge. Now, remember I told you to remember those boat docks in the article about the salt lakes around the world disappearing. And you saw those boat docks dried up. Well, folks, I'm going to zoom in here for you real quick. What do you see over here? See boat docks laying on the ground. For the first time in my life, I've ever seen this. Boat docks laying on the ground. It really makes you wonder what's happening. So I turned around and I took a photograph, and that's the bridge that I crossed over to get to the other side. And right over here to the left is that boat dealership and the boat storage area. It's right across this bridge. Where's the water? Where is it? It's completely gone. Folks, and we're not talking about a foot or two. I measured this distance from this water's edge all the way up to where the water level should be. Okay, 58 feet. From here all the way up here, 58 feet. I mean, I just don't get it where this water went. There's no drought here. The water management through the locks and dams is regulated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regulated heavily because of the population of people and the small towns and communities all along these river valleys. And it's been this way for hundreds of years. I mean, George Washington traversed this river to get up to a battle, the battle of what he referred to as Fort Necessity, at which time it was the only battle that young General George Washington lost and surrendered to the French and the Indians. But he literally came up this river all the way from Fort Duquesne, which was basically in the middle of the city of Pittsburgh. He traversed all of these rivers. But just looking at this picture, and when I was standing there, this is like a sandstone material, kind of sandy, not muddy, but sandy. And you would expect that if the water just receded, even a few days ago, your feet would sink deep into this very fine sandstone sand. But that wasn't the case. It was dry, like a freaking desert. We walked all the way down, up and down this shore. We actually found some fossil remains of plants, and I think we did take some pictures of them. But this is just showing you, right across over here. You can see where, I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can see where the water's edge goes all the way up. It's gone. And like I said, it's not like it's a little bit of water. It's a tremendous amount of water. So the same thing's happening to the Mississippi River. The same thing's happening to the rivers where I live in southwestern Pennsylvania. So what I'm wondering, is this happening in other states east of the Mississippi River? Because there's a lot of rivers and tributaries and waterways east of the Mississippi. So once again, I'm going to zoom in here real quick, kind of blurry, but here's the boat docks. 1, 2, 3 boat docks. Look how dry. Look how far up. These boat docks are just on dry land. Here's a picture of me standing a little further up on the embankment looking down. And you can see how steep the elevation is going down to the water's edge where it is right now. So where did the water go? Again, one lonely bass boat. And, he is out in the middle and he came zipping by. And then as he got right there, he started letting off of his throttle because I think he saw, he was going to hit some really, really shallow water. And he slowed down to a crawl till he got underneath that bridge, which is right over here. But once again, let me zoom in here. Here's the boat docks. All of the boats are gone. All of the docks are on the ground. Everywhere. And you can see all along this edge where the water level was. And it's gone. And again, folks, people, they fish up here just about all year long, even through the winter. Now, this river never freezes over completely, but people come up here and they fish for muskie. They fish for northern pike, which are very, very large game fish, very large, 50, 60 inches. These are huge game fish. Trout fishing, bass fishing, walleye fishing. Okay, this area is populated every single day of the week. I've come up here fishing before in the fall, in the winter, in the spring, in the summer. These water levels have never in my lifetime been like this. But now all of a sudden, again, based on what Mr. MB333 has been finding with the Mississippi River, articles that are coming out, lakes are drying up, waterways are drying up. Where is the water going? I mean, is it falling deep inside of crevasses in the earth? I mean, where's it going? This is just another photograph that I took. Zoom in a little bit. And you could see this water level goes all the way up to here on this side. Now, this is just a steep wall, cliff wall right here. The water's gone. Here's a wide view. And again, you can see how steep this is going up. There's a small bend over here, and the waterway goes back this way. It's a long river, over 130, 140 miles long. It's like this all the way down to where I live. Because about, I'd say maybe 5 or 6 miles from where I live, south of the city, the Youghiogheny River is only a few miles from me. There's a big kayaking business right down where I live. And I mean, they're fully active all the way into the beginning of November because they rent the canoes and the kayaks. They take you upriver and you float all the way down. And people love to be on this river during the fall so you can see the fall foliage. Well, folks, the trees are barely turning colors. By this time, the end of October, all of the trees should be completely burnt orange, red, and yellow. Well, what do you see in the photograph? You see the majority of it is green. Green. So whenever I went over to Fort Necessity, I took Dr. Albers on a tour of that fort, that battlefield that involved George Washington and the French and Indian armies. I actually had a chance to drive down deep into the park, deep into the forest, and you're allowed to drive down in there, and people love to go and see the fall foliage. I spoke with one of the park rangers, and she was actually sitting back at the entrance. And we talked for a few minutes, and she said, yeah, she goes, a lot of people are coming up to see the fall foliage and the trees turning colors, but she goes, everything's green still. And I just looked at her whenever she said that, and I'm like, yeah, that's really kind of unusual for late October. The trees are still green. And you know, folks, last winter in this neck of the woods, no pun intended, everything stayed green. Like I've mentioned before, last year, the day after Christmas, it was 62 degrees on December 26th. 62 degrees in southwestern Pennsylvania. People were cutting grass. My grass needed cut. Everything stayed green. Interesting. Excuse me. Here is the widest photograph that I took showing you all the water disappeared. Gone, bone dry. Again, where did it all go? You know, I checked water levels going back weeks and weeks and weeks into the beginning of the fall and the end of the summer. And the water levels have steadily been dropping to the point where they're at now. Looks like a postcard, doesn't it? But this is a serious situation. All of the marine life is probably in jeopardy. And as far as the wildlife goes, the same thing would apply. Deer, bear. I mean, there are tons and tons of forest life. And like I said, it's not like we've had a drought situation with no rain. We've had our normal rain periods, no problem. But where's all the water? Water's all gone. So it kind of makes you wonder. Where did it all go? I don't know, folks. You know, it's been on my mind now for, well, about a good 2 weeks. I can't explain it. Can't explain it. But all I know is water's disappearing in rivers, lakes, and streams all over the east coast of the United States, east of the Mississippi. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if all of you can just do me a little favor, if any of you live, near rivers, lakes, things of that nature, in the next couple of days or this upcoming weekend, take some photographs, go down to your rivers and your lakes. Let me know what you see. Take some photographs if you notice that these water levels are extremely low. And we're going to investigate this a little bit further. Because I thought, in the beginning when Mr. MBB333 was investigating what was happening to the Mississippi, I thought maybe there was an occurrence with mismanagement of the locks and dams on the Mississippi. But, as I thought more and more about that, that was kind of a stupid idea because, there are so many huge barges and ships that navigate the Mississippi. Transportation on that river is vital. They wouldn't put that in jeopardy, nor would they make that type of mistake. The same applies where I live. These rivers, the Allegheny, the Monongahela, the Ohio River, these are main transportation routes for hundreds of barges going up and down these rivers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doesn't matter what the weather is. They're transporting coal and other materials. I have a friend of mine who is a captain on one of the barges. He's been a captain now on one of these river barges for about 20 years. He's always taking photographs. I tried to get in touch with him this weekend but I wasn't able to. I left him a few messages. He may be, down on the river. He goes as far as Kentucky on his barge. So I'm going to wait for him to get back in touch with me. And, I'm going to ask him what he's been seeing on his journey down the Monongahela into the Ohio and leading into the Mississippi. I want to know what he has been seeing as far as river levels. So if all of you could just do me a little favor, if you want to inbox those photographs to me at the Planet X News Facebook page, that would be great. If you want to email them, you could email them. The email address is in the description box under the video. But now my curiosity is peaking at 100% right now. I'm kind of worried where this water's disappearing to, because I don't see some type of normal explanation for it. I don't know what's happening with the Mississippi. And now I don't know what's happening with the rivers around the area where I live. They should not be bone dry like that. So if any of you have information on these rivers in your areas and lakes, check it out. Go on a little excursion this weekend, weather permitting. Check it out. Document it. Make sure if you're sending me the photographs, you're including the date, the time, and the name of the lake, the river, or the stream. So I have the information. And let's start digging into this. Let's start finding out, where is our water going? It has to be going somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. It's not evaporating into thin air. Is there a possibility that it's leaking from underneath deep into the crevices of the earth based on all of the seismic activity? There's a lot of questions arising here. A lot. If any of you have any ideas, hey, feel free. Let me know what you think. This weekend coming up, if you get those photographs, instantaneously email them to me, or even better, go to the Planet X News Facebook page, drop them in a message, and don't forget, send me the date, time, and the name of the river or the lake where you're at, and tell me what you're documenting. Let's get into this. It's definitely something to bite into, because now, like I said, my curiosity, it's in overdrive. I want to know where this water's going. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being with me this very, very early morning. And as soon as I get more data on this, I'm going to investigate it a little bit more. As soon as I get more information, I'm going to be bringing it straight back to each and every one of you. So stay tuned, and thank you very much for watching Planet X News. Take care, guys.